We're about to enter this building. It's not just any normal building. It's a place where you can see real-life fossils. Fossils are stuff that is from species long time ago, and these species are buried underground because it's called a slow process of evaporation. It's just so that the wind blows up dirt onto the fossils, making more and more layers, and eventually squashing the dinosaur bones, and then a hard rock began to form around it, eventually turning the bones into fossils. So let's see what's waiting us in there. This is an explanation of fossils, so let's read it. The Earth has an extremely long history in which the evolution of life is just as long. 518 million years ago, Chen Yang witnesses the Cambrian explosion and opened a new era of life. On the earth, the preserve of precious life records, the Xinjiang also is an unfadingly sealed book, and this is also an epic about the evolution of life on Earth. Here, people can see the first beautiful bloom of life on Earth during the Cambrian period, and the explosive emergence of the diverse ancestors of living animals, which indicates the formation of the animal trees on the earth. Since then, these livings had experienced many events of extinction, recovery, and evolution, which pushed this flourishing of the life tree into the handover life for man and nature. So, long time ago, there's only life in the water areas of us. And long time ago, there is no land but water. You see that life thrives there. It all begins there with jellyfishes and small organisms, bacteria that evolve into present-day life that we see today. The earliest form of complex life is the jellyfish. The jellyfish has a long history. It all started with a box jellyfish. That is the first complex life form. So if you're wondering what complex life form means, it basically means that an organism that is not just a one-celled organism. In other words, an organism that does not just have one cell, a more complex life and brains. So, when the first complex life forms form, there is a new type of organism called mammals, which is what humans are today. There's warm-blood animals and cold-blood animals. And mammals thrive, eventually forming creatures that are even huger than humans. They may not have complex brains like what present-day humans have, but it's a huge step for the evolution of life. Since you can see how much complexity has been built in this world, it all started from one-celled organisms that are like bacteria, and then into humans. Humans evolved around 250,000 years ago. The early days humans, like this one, is small, not even taller than me. But they eventually grow. But humans is not just one species. Long time ago, there's a lot of subspecies, but they all die off. And this is still a mystery for scientists today. But scientists are getting pretty good guesses. And if you're living in the time of that place, you'll have a lot of cousins that may have wars with you, or you may gain friendship with them. Over here is the evolution of humans. It all started with gorillas, and then some gorillas are very smart and began to walk on 2 feet, while some, called chimpanzees, is still like this. And eventually, these species evolve, cutting down their fall, and eventually even walking like this, like what we're walking right now. And now humans have begun to grow taller, and began to know how to make tools. These are early stone tools, okay? But eventually they evolved into chainsaws and knives, and this is the present day human in cost like that though, because our evolution had stopped. Eventually, instead of continuing to evolve, we began to develop our technology, becoming greater and greater every day. And behind you can see skeletons of what it looks like. First, let's begin with this. You can see that something never changed. The red spot is the spine, which holds up the human head. And eventually began straighter and straighter, making humans walk like this. And what does this mean? Well, this means that there's going to be something new soon, something that we cannot miss. The other part is the evolution of other animals, not as humans. You can see that these are the birds, or kind of birds. There's a lot of birds in the universe, alright? And if you think of it, each having their own personality and having their own development and evolution, because birds is not just one species. Every species in Earth has once have many subspecies. Take humans. We once have other cousins, but somehow they went extinct. But birds is another story. They all started when they're dinosaurs flying around in the world. Long time ago, I mean 70 million years ago. And they managed to survive the asteroid attack that crashed the Earth in 60 million years ago, and now they're thriving, turning into all kinds of species. Wonder how that happened? Well, because each having their own habitats evolved, eventually turning into different kinds of species that thrive. Back to the ocean world. So here we have all kinds of fossils long time ago and different plants and animals that we can see here. So why do we come back? Because we still have plants. You can see that all of these plants are thriving in the ocean right now. Even though some of them might be extinct, but their fossil records are still here. And we can know that they still exist. So how does this all happen? It's photosynthesis. It's the other type of bacteria that use oxygen to survive. And they eventually evolve into plants, sticking into each other and getting more energy than they could ever have, thriving in the ocean floor. Some that we cannot see, but they still exist. At first, it may skip this part, but this is actually very important. It keeps all the records of Earth, and it keeps all the species on Earth. If it's not for this, we may never know that many species that we have known today. It may think that this is just a plain wall, but if we examine it very closely, you can examine it for a day. There's slight differences along the stone, and they all show different species because of their timeline. So the upper parts will be the newest species. These parts will be the oldest species. If you look closely, you can see little tickets and explaining what they are. You may think that this is nothing, just a pile of rocks, right? But no, it isn't. These have slight differences. They're not the same, and they represent different species that lived a long time ago, even millions of years ago.